All right. I waited long enough. I let the dust settle. I don't know anything about this series, but I gotta know because I love Naruto. So, I'm gonna read all of these and then I'll be right back. It's probably gonna be a few days between, but for you guys, it'll probably be a couple seconds. And start. Why so many belts? It's like the creators saw Kingdom Hearts and were like, zippers. That's so impractical. Belts, on the other hand, you can never have too many belts. We don't need to focus on a developed plot or fleshed out characters. We just need belts. More belts. Next chapter featuring belts. Who's got the best belt? Top 10 belts list. That's not this video. It's time to talk. As much as I'd love to keep 50 belts on right now and this fucking leather jacket, it's Florida. It's way too hot for that. I'm changing out before I get into this because I'm about to get heated. Oh my god, I'm already sweating. Holy shit. So, I have finally caught up on Boruto The Next Generation manga. And I want to preface this with, I read the manga. I only saw bits of the anime, but I could not be fucked to watch 170 episodes of something that there's 50 chapters. As of this recording, there is only 50 chapters in the manga, and it is just way ahead. Even if it's not all filler and it's more character development, I don't care because it still turns into filler after a certain point. Just get on with the point. On the other hand, the manga literally never takes a breath and actually goes so fast that it hurts itself. That's my biggest complaint, is this is such breakneck speed, and I'm gonna try to do this justice. This video will have spoilers for basically every major part, unless I just completely blank on it because my goldfish monkey brain just doesn't remember it. I'm gonna go volume by volume for the most part and give the key points because in the fastest manner possible. Jesus, my brain is just melting. What a ride. What a ride. I don't even think I hate it. I definitely don't love it, but I love Naruto so much that I had to give it a chance. And really, it's just a continuation. They honestly should have just continued Naruto. Like, it didn't even need to change. He could have had his son. He would have just been as important as if it was just Naruto. Naruto's still basically the main character. It's Boruto's story. It's my story. And it is, but alright, no. Fast track time. Volume 1. The Ninja Academy? Nah. Rasengan? It takes 3 days to a week for Boruto to master the Rasengan when it took Naruto like 3 legit years. It's in the first 2 chapters and he already has the Rasengan basically fucking mastered. B dies in 2 pages. They kill him off, at least presumably. I don't know. They just dead. Like, and then they've never come back to it. Volume 2. The entire tuning exams happens. The whole tournament arc part, you know, that took 10 plus volumes in the original Naruto. 2 chapters about, roughly. Some of the preliminary fights and even the main fights that they have in the arena are 1 panel for those battles. And then they get transported to another dimension with a new chakra tree, whatever, I forget the name of them. I can't be fucked. Volume 3. The Momoshiki fight that everybody sees with Sasuke versus Naruto and the hand-to-hand combat and the really sick fight happens in the first 2 chapters of this volume. And it's over. That's episode 65 of the anime, and it's 6 chapters deep. That's how I don't even know what's going on there. 6 chapters, and that happens, and it's not even that. They don't even do the fist fighting. They just do the Susanoo Ninetales form armor, and that's it. And then they Rasengan Momoshiki, and it's over. Volume 4, the most important stuff, teaches us about the power of credit card no jutsu to beat the gachas and card game pools. They make a card game that I swear they were trying. They were trying to get that made into a real thing. And the Naruto card game existed. I have packs of it. Not packs, I have cards from back in the day from like 2005 when it existed. I have no idea where those are. I know they exist. And then they beat a gangster boss that his special jutsu is to become and transform into other people, but he has to eat their brains to imitate them and get all their memories. That shit alone, that's unsettling, man. That's creepy. Nah, I'm out. Volume 5, best cover art. No contest. Other than that, Konohamaru uses a USB drive scroll to download data. It's almost like you could just use a smaller, more discrete object than a giant scroll. Whatever. Akita Inuzaka? Boy, Kiba was my favorite from the original Naruto of side characters. And this... Just look up Akita Inuzaka. Oh my god. Hell yeah. From there, because she's the person that helps research scientific ninja tools, which becomes both a very important plot point of this series and also just moot at the same time, because this is the real issue right here. The speed running of these volumes just got halted because I think of these ninja tools, basically nano-machines. Oh my god, they become the Deus Ex Machina of this series so hard. Just if you've even heard of Metal Gear Solid, nano-machines. What's the explanation? Ninja tools. Boom. We figured it out, boys. But in this, for at least now, Volume 5, they show ninja tools like a chakra blade, which is the edgiest and coolest thing ever, where you funnel just a shitload of chakra through a blade, or just a handle like a lightsaber, and it just drains you so fast, but it does so much damage. That's really cool. Walking boots and gloves to go up walls without using chakra, really cool. A legit straight up flashbang scroll. Alright, yeah. Flying machines, hell yeah, that's cool. Until it becomes cellular and a gimmick for everything. We'll get there. Volume 6, I believe, is where the story finally kind of slows down just enough to tell a story and flesh out some of the characters. We get way more information on Kara, which is basically, if you haven't touched this series, is the Akatsuki equivalent for Boruto, of these cloaked figures that go to the online Zoom meetings in some cave and talk to each other about their evil secret plans. And look-wise, with their cloaks, they're not very interesting to look at, but when they actually show up, and it's basically like getting the Akatsuki like in the first 10 volumes instead of waiting super long like we did with Naruto, which they're definitely the interesting part of this series. The fights, oh my god, literally the first one uses a minigun as their ninja tool, but holy crap, they're so mysterious to the point where it actually kind of leaves more intrigue. Instead of just not explaining or developing the characters, they show just enough but don't give you all of it that I want to know more, versus just having a character on a screen and telling me nothing that doesn't pose any questions. That's kind of how it should be done, huh? Volume 7 introduces what is essentially Boruto's rival, the Sasuke to Naruto. And my god, when they just looking at this, like this character, I was like, oh, it's so edgy. It's just, I thought for sure this was going to be just cringe fest. And funny enough, Kawaki ends up probably being my favorite character so far in this series. He's actually like, they give him enough backstory and explanation that's kind of like, that's so twisted. And then his like interactions with Boruto's family, Naruto, and everybody is actually so genuine, and there's a lot of growth and development that happens here in like the fucking breakneck speed while we're moving at 100 miles an hour when they try to at least give scenes to flesh it out. I genuinely think that they actually were on the right track with this, albeit still rushed, because that's the the crutch of this entire series, unfortunately. Kawaki is genuinely interesting and is revealed to also be the counterpart to Boruto with the curse mark on the palm that's known as karma. It essentially resonates with each other and doesn't get explained till later. But it's super complex, and if I try to explain it, I am not the right person to like put it into words. I'll just make it more confusing. It's basically just think of the Orochimaru curse mark, except from God, essentially. Like they're the vessel, but instead of it being Sasuke to Orochimaru, like to take over his body, it's Kaguya's descendants or siblings, I guess. It's not explained too well. They're clans member that we'll see where that goes, but that's what essentially is being set up with that. So by volume 8, we get, as the front cover will portray, Delta versus Naruto, which is, it's a pretty sick fight, if albeit the physics of it don't make a lot of sense from panel to panel. This was the one fight I think where I was actually really confused, because Naruto would get launched backwards and be lunging forward in the next one, when they've shown that there is always a frame in between catching themselves and moving forward, which, whatever, that's a nitpick, which is fine. But then we get more on the Kara members as well as Kawaki, since he technically is the vessel and one of, I guess, the members, even if it's not really by choice. And they have like a parasite Terminator 2 like forming blades and like weapons where their bodies like organically change because of ninja tools, i.e. nano-machines. And it literally says Nano-machines later on in the volumes that haven't been made yet, but the chapters that have been released, they legit call them Nano-machines. So I was right the whole time. I can't, like, they legitimately call them Nano-machines. It's just like they forgot. They were, oops, yeah, that's right, wrong series, we forgot what we were writing out. But they like transform into, like, they literally can just change their bodies and regenerate. It just seems like a really like simple gimmick to be like, oh yeah, no, they're fine. They literally get their heads and arms and legs and whole bodies exploded, but you have to destroy a core that's inside of their body to really end their life. I think Kawaki can only get regenerated if he's given power by the leader, so it makes it a little more like dangerous when he gets hit when he's on the run and basically not with Kara or any of the like cult leaders, essentially. And they kind of show that a lot of the members are like clones, so we get like a whole Zetsu feeling, but they have personality to differentiate each other, so they don't all like kind of blend together and it's not just like another one. So even when one gets blown back and then comes and like another takes their place, it's still that same character of like, all right, well, whoops. But it hasn't been explained too well. They're just kind of manufactured, I guess. It's turning into Boruto the Clone Wars, like, essentially. And it gets even better with clones down the road towards the more recent chapters with some of the reveal characters that were brought back, I guess. Volume 9 is the last English volume that currently exists at this point of recording. And I don't have a lot substantial. It ends the Delta versus Naruto fight. And it basically reveals that the members of Kara, or the Otsutsuki clan, which is what Kaguya is from, and all those like members have ten-tails in another dimension that they have more on standby to expand the universe. It's about to get even more confusing, because the expanded chapters after this 9th volume are just like, you're not even gonna think I'm telling the truth. This sounds like we're going like Fast and Furious levels of just like ridiculousness and over the top stuff that's like, fuck it, let's go to space. And I genuinely mean, let's fucking go to space, because the Otsutsuki clan, hold on to your seats, ladies and gentlemen, are aliens. Aliens. What? Are you dicking me? They are legitimately people from other planets that they make ten-tails and plant them as a seed to grow into the ground like the chakra flower at the end of the Naruto Great War. And then it draws all the energy and life from it, and then that leaves that planet barren, and then they move on and do it with another one. I'm not shit posting right now. That is actually the fucking plot of this. They are legitimately just trying to get Ten Tails, plant them, take over, and leave, and just peace out. What? And I love that the most casual part right now is that space-time jutsu travel is a normal thing that happens almost every other chapter, where they just are like, yeah, let's just go to another dimension, and they just step through a black hole and then they're in it. This happens so often that I legitimately am just like, okay, that's just part of it. It's legitimately getting so ridiculous. Also, a little drop in the well, little tidbit, they cloned and brought back Jiraiya. He's not Jiraiya, but it's like they took part of his cells, so he is a member of Kara, and straight up, he's so cool. I'm gonna be honest with you, like, it's really weird that they did that, almost as like a fan servicey nostalgia thing, but it's like just kind of seeing a character, even if it's not the pervy sage himself, be there. He has really sick fighting scenes, and character design wise, you can't really guess it's him. Initially, it kind of gets to the point where they kind of rub it in your face before the reveal, but it's been revealed that he is a clone of him, essentially, that's been created from his cells or something like that. It doesn't stop to explain. It just gives you bits of information to move with. But yeah, so that's a thing. Jiraiya is essentially back in some vein. So now basically the plot is Boruto needs to get rid of the curse mark and beat the alien ninja chakra people before it takes over his body in a certain amount of time. I genuinely don't know where it could go after this, because it's already plowing through and just knocked out a bunch of main bad guys that it feels like we're already at the final boss and just waiting to see what happens. I'm sure it'll get dragged out more just because the very first page of the first volume kind of shows how it's gonna turn out, although with the information we've been given, we kind of understand where it's gonna go. Kind of. We'll see. I feel like my brain is just melting from reading this series, because it's been a literal roller coaster ride of no development for most characters. There's no time to think or any respite. It's just constant moving and just flailing its way through, which I guess to its strengths, it never stops. There is always something happening. I read these 50 chapters and they're 60 plus page chapters. They're not 20. So they're basically 3 chapters length for a normal one, but it still just never stops moving. Even when it does for some of the development with Kawaki and everything, it's done well enough that I'm invested enough. I genuinely want to know where this goes. It's kind of a dumpster fire. I'm gonna be honest. This is it's so bad that it's actually kind of good. It's getting to the point where it's just the power levels don't matter. Some people are just nerfed at certain points, while other ones just are OP for no reason to fit the plot. Nano-machines and ninja tools are just the go-to for any plot explanation. It's to the point where it's all right, whatever, just keep going, let's see what happens. If this doesn't end up with fighting in space, I'm genuinely going to be disappointed at this point, because it's just ramping up to that level. I'm going to stick around to see what happens. Is it bad? I mean, I guess it's up for debate. I think the overarching plot is told just in pieces enough to keep you to set up a world and be all right, yeah, the rules of that world are shit and doesn't really matter, because things will just keep going anyway, even if they back themselves into a wall. But I don't know, it's pretty fun to just enjoy the shit show and just kind of watch it just jettison itself at just anything close to it. I enjoy it. I don't think it's not a masterpiece, and anybody that says it's like a 1, you're wrong. Like, I mean, it is pretty bad. I can't speak for the anime just because it's way too drawn out. JoJo's is shorter with part 1 through 5 than what Boruto is. I can't do that. The manga doesn't release a chapter other than once a month, if that. It's so just drawn out that I don't know. If you can stick through that anime, then sure. I'm sure there's good parts. The fights are phenomenal. I watch the fights for most major parts if I'm reading a manga, and I'm not gonna watch the anime. But overall, I think it's worth sitting down and getting your own experience, especially if you're a huge Naruto fan. You might as well. It literally just continues from the end of Naruto with another time skip essentially, and following the kids, but kind of. It's still Naruto is a very prevalent character. Sasuke's in it a ton. They're actually like best friends, which is super cool to see. I actually really love the dynamic between Naruto and Sasuke because they actually kind of like vibe and gel with each other in fights and just like coordinate. Sure, there's a lot of issues, but I just end up repeating myself. This is ridiculous. Give it a shot. If not, I just spoiled most of it, so whatever. We'll see what happens in the future. Jesus Christ. If you enjoyed any of this, feel free to like the video, subscribe. It is the law. Subscribe no jutsu. I have you in my grasp. You must do it. That is the end of this cringe talk. Other than that, have a nice rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one, hopefully. See ya!